Right, so yesterday we talked about the sampling method and the problems that we could have with collecting data. So now that I said we have our data, what are we gonna do with it? So we have to calculate the mean, median, mode, and draw a box plot. Um, mean, median, mode. I know a lot of you guys know that already. So I think the box plot is the new thing for you guys. So, mean. What's another word for mean? Yes, average, right? It's simply just average. So let's say I have 5 people and I want to find their average height. All I have to do is add up those 5 heights divided by 5 and I will get their average height. Okay. What's another word for median? Median. Yeah, that word. Middle. Yeah. So just making the words easier to understand. Middle. So does that mean the median is 140? The middle person is the median 140? Yeah. Okay, Grace. Because right, you have to list them from smallest to greatest. You have to put them in order. Okay, and then the median would be the 155, the middle person. Okay, and then what about mode? What's another word for mode? Yeah, most. Okay, so if you look at these, I don't have to rearrange it. I can just eyeball it and I see that there are two 155s. So my mode is 155. Okay, you can have more than one mode. Okay, so let's do a quick little example first. Let's say these are the minimum wage for the province and territories in Canada. So let's find a mean first. So for the mean, I'm just gonna add up all these. So like 15 plus 1195 plus dot 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 all the way to the 13 and 1181. And I'm gonna divide it by 2, 4, 6, 7, so by 13. Okay. 15 plus 1195 plus 1275 plus 1295 plus 15 plus 13.5 plus 15.2, 15.2, 11.75, 15.2, 16, 13, 11.81. Okay. 179.31. A common mistake people do is they just add it all up and then they forget to divide. So notice the number is way off. Remember your average is within your maximum and minimum. So if you get a really big number, it most likely means you either added it wrong or you forgot to divide. Okay, and then the answer I get is this. So what do I round it to? Maxwell? 13.79 because it's money. We're talking about money right here. Depending on the question, that's how you know how much you should round to. Okay, so 1379 is the average wage out of all the province and territory. Okay, median. Median, this is the annoying one because you have to list them from smallest to biggest first. So my smallest is 1175, 1181, 1195. So 1275, 1295, 13, 1350, 15, 15, 3 1520s, 1520, 1520, 1520, 1, 2, 3, and then a 16. Okay. When you rewrite it, I would strongly suggest you guys cross each one out or do a check mark so that you don't miss any. Remember, after you list it, you should always count to make sure that you did write 13 numbers. If you didn't, it's going to make your whole answer wrong. Okay, and then now I'm just choosing the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my middle number, 13.50. Now let's say I didn't have 13 numbers and I only have 12 numbers, then the middle would be between 13 and 13.25. What would I have to do if it's between two numbers? Yep. Find the average of those two. So the middle of those two, which would be 13 plus 13.5 divided by 2, so it will be 13.25. Okay, but in this case, when there's an odd number of numbers, you know that it's just that. So my median is just 13.50. Okay, the mode, which is the number that appeared the most, in this case it is. Which number appeared the most in this list? Noel? 15.20. Okay. So now suppose the province of New Brunswick introduced a new housing subsidy for all people. So the cost of living in New Brunswick drops tremendously, meaning minimum wage, they can lower it. So now minimum wage is just $6. So instead of $11.75, it's now down to 6. So how will this affect the average? Joanna? So if I lower the minimum wage, how will it affect the average? It will lower it as well, right? Because your sum is lower. Okay. If that's the case, is the mean a still good representation? If not, what would be a better representation? Okay. Casey? The median, that's right. So the mean is not a good representation anymore. Median would be a better one, especially when you have outliers. Okay? So for example, if I want to, that's why on your report card, I think you see 2 marks. You see the average and the median. That's because if, like, let's say somebody is registered but doesn't attend, they're never in class, that means their mark in the class is 0%. It's going to drop the whole class average down with that 0. But if you count the median, then those will not affect it. Okay, and then what will you consider New Brunswick data point to be? And oh, sorry, I kind of answered my own question. So since this is so out of the way of all these, we call this the outlier. Okay. Right. Next page. Oh. Okay. So we went over different types of graphs and charts. Right, so on EQAL, they do ask this. They will ask you which is the better representation. So remember, these ones are like single variable representation. single variable. Okay, and then the other ones that we talked about, like double bar graph and like a line of best fit graphs, those ones will be two variables. Okay, so let's construct a box plot together. So there are 5 steps to constructing a box plot. So step 1 is you have to list them in order from smallest to greatest, just like how we would with the median. Okay. Step 2 is to find the median. All right. So since there is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, since there are 10 numbers, your median is the middle of the two, so between 29 and 31. So your median is 31. Your median in this case is also known as your Q2. Okay. And then since I didn't use the 29 or the 33, it's not part of my Q2. I then, for my third step, I take the median of the first half of the number, including 29. Okay, so looking at my Q1 from the first half of these, then Q1 is going to be 28. Okay, and then step 4 is the median of the second half. So then Q3 would be 34. Okay, and then the other two numbers is just your minimum, which is the lowest number, and the maximum, which is your highest number, 37. Okay, so and then when we draw it, make sure you have a number line. Without a number line, none of these make sense. Number line. All right, you have to have a number line, and then you're just gonna label these numbers. So 24 is my minimum, 37 is my maximum, and then the Q1, Q2, Q3, I create a box. Okay, and then I attach the ends to it. Q1, Q2, Q3, another name for it is the lower quartile or quartile 1. And then Q3 would be my upper quartile or quartile 3. Okay, that's what the Q stands for. It stands for quartile. Okay. What percent of the ball bounce are 28 or higher? So 28 or higher means this part of the graph. Now, anyone know how much is each section of the box plot? Casey? 25%. Excellent. Okay, so each of these are 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Okay, why people like using the box plot is they can easily see where most of the numbers are. So looking at this, it looks like this part is a little longer than the other parts. So 25% of the numbers are between 24 to 28. Okay, and then here, so what percent of the ball bounds are 28 or higher? So 25, 25, 25. So 75% is higher. Okay. And then what percent of the data is between the median and the upper quartile? Between the median and upper quartile, which is this part, so that's 25% right there. All right. Now, I want to add in one more question. Let's say I did one huge bounce and I got the number 39. Is 39 an outlier? Right? Remember, these are bounces, the height of the bounce of a ball. So let's say I did one more bounce and I got 39. Is Is it an outlier? Who says yes, 39 is an outlier? Who says no, it's not an outlier? Okay, so thank you for those who participated. Okay, there's a formula to calculate. All right, there is the IQR and then plus or minus 1.5 times 1.5. Okay, times 1.5 to get the to figure out if it's an outlier. What does IQR stand for? Who knows what IQR stands for? Okay, Fancy? Interquartile range. Interquartile range. And what's the formula for calculating that, Fancy? I don't remember. Okay, Shrenik? Anyone? Okay, it's actually just Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so in this case, 34 minus 28. 34 minus 28, you get 6. Okay, so notice I have this times 1.5. So if I times it by 1.5, I get 9. Okay, so I'm going to do Q1 minus 9 and Q3 plus 9. And that will tell you what reasonable range is, what the reasonable range are. So Q1 is 28. So 28 minus 9 gives you 19. And Q3, which was 34 plus 9, gives you 33. So therefore, any numbers between 19 and 43. Any numbers between 19 and 43 are reasonable data. And so is 39 an outlier? No. Will you have to show this? Can you just say no, it's not an outlier? Or you have to show this work? Of course you have to show this work. Okay. So these are the reasonable range. Okay. All good? Okay. One last example. Let's try to construct our box plot. Okay, so following is the cost of new smartphones from different outlets. Looking at these, it doesn't look like they're not the iPhone 13 or 14 or 15 or whatever it's up to now. Okay, so what's my first step? Zoe? Good. Okay, order them. So lowest is 500. And then help me out, guys. 560. And then 635. 650. 690. 700. 730. 750. 800. 875. 900. And 999. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. Second step. Second step. Ryan? Find the median. Find the median. Right. So what's my median? Right. So 700 plus 730 divided by 2, I get 715. So my Q2 is 715. Okay. Okay, and then since I did not use the 700 as part of the number, I'm going to take the median of the first half. So for example, let's say 700 is my median, then I won't consider it. Then I would take just from 500 to 690 to calculate my median of the first half. Right? So looking at these, then that is between 635 and 650. 635 plus 650. Oh, one more thing. When you do this on the calculator, 635 plus 650 divided by 2, what's wrong with what I put right here? Yeah. Order operation. If I do this, I'm going to get 960. That's not a number between 6 in the 600 because your calculator only divided this and then added on. So press equal first and then divide by 2. Okay. So Q1, that's a common mistake people do. 642.5. They make that mistakes without recognizing. Okay. And then same thing on this side. So the number between 8. Sorry, let me rewrite this so that it looks a little neater. 8. Okay, so that is not confusing. Okay, and then for my upper quartile, Q3 is gonna be between 800 and 875. 800 plus 875 equal, and then divided by 2, 837.5. Okay, I have my Q1, Q2, Q3. What are my other two numbers? So whenever you draw a box plot, you have 5 numbers. I have Q1, Q2, Q3. What are my other two? Felix? Yeah, minimum and maximum. So it's just min and max. Right? So now to draw my box plot, what's the first thing I should draw? Maxwell? Scale, right? Okay, I don't need it to be like to exact scale. So let's say 500, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1,000. Right? Minimum 500, maximum 999, and then 642. How about right here? 715 right here. 837. 837 about right here. Okay, so notice I just draw the lines. Okay, and then now since and one silly thing is this is called a box plot. So when I see it on your test, I better see a box. People don't draw a box. Right, and there you go. That's how you draw the box plot. All right. Remember, each of these sections are 25%. So what is where are most of the numbers? Around what range? Right. So and in this case, it's that the closer the smaller the box, the closer the numbers. So that means 25% of the price are between like 650 and 715. Okay, so this is the most dense. Okay, and then just one last thing. I want to know if I am paying too much or too like let's say I went to another I went on eBay and somebody is selling the iPhone for a newer phone for 1,200. All right, I want to know if it's a good deal. All right, so then I would have to again do the IQR. Okay, so what's my interquartile range here? Q3 minus Q1. So 837.5 take away 642.5 is 195. Times it by 1.5. Here. Times it by 1.5. 292.5. So I'm gonna Q1 minus that and Q3 plus that. Okay, so my range would be 642.50, take away 292.50. So anywhere between 300 to 1,130 are within the range. All right, so my $1,200 phone on eBay, it's actually overpriced. All right. Okay, so that's it. So you guys can try working on the mean, median, mode, and box plot on page 12, 13, and 14, and 15. Okay, so up to page 15. Not a lot. A lot of this is just adding, subtracting. So it's not a lot. So up to page 15. Right? Thank you.